Hey there, crafty friends. Welcome and thank you for joining me. My name is Melissa Miller. I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Southern California. And today I wanted to use the Daffodil Daydream stamp set. So we're actually using quite a few products here today. I've got the stamp set and we will be using the larger image with the 3 daffodils and the Easter blessings sentiment, but you've also got Happy Mother's Day on here. So this is a pretty versatile set. Let's see. And then we've got our Daffodil dies, and there are a ton of dies in here, but I am just going to be using the larger one here to cut out our stamped image. But with the dies, you can also cut out the pieces. You can cut out the pieces of the daffodil and you can layer them and you get some really neat dimension. So that would be really pretty to put a whole bunch of these daffodils on a card. But we are not doing that today. Today we're just going to stick with this card. We will also be using our stencils. I've got my basic pattern decorative masks. You get 4 to a pack. So the one that I am using today is this one here. So let's put that aside. But in this pack, you also get the polka dots. You get the birch trees. I'm hoping you can see that. You get the birch trees, and then you get this other kind of floral pattern. So you get 4 masks in a pack. And let's go ahead and get started. I think what we're going to do first is we are going to use our embossing paste. Now, in case you haven't seen this before, we actually have 2 different kinds of embossing paste. We have the Shimmery White embossing paste, and then we have just the plain embossing paste, which is more of a matte finish. And I did do a little sample here for you, just so you can see. I took my stencil and I used my blender brushes and I just added some color to there, and then I added the paste. Now over here on the right, I've got the shimmery paste, and then over here on the left, I've got the matte paste, and it just gives you such dimension. I'm really hoping you can see that. It's really pretty. So we will be using the shimmery paste today, and we are going to be ink blending on a piece of paper here. But first, I want to show you another way that you can use this paste, or how you can color it actually. You can take a little bit of your re-inker and you can put some of that on a block, or you can take your ink pad and you can put some ink on your block from your ink pad, just like that. Get some ink on there. And then take a little bit of your embossing paste with one of your palette knives. And in our palette knives, you get 3. You get this one that I like. This one is my favorite. That's the one I'll be using when we do ours. And you get the other 2. You get the one with the pointy end and one with a little bit more of a rounded end. So I'm just going to take this and show you how you can get your own custom colors. And you don't need a lot. You don't need a lot at all. So we're just going to take a little bit of the paste out here. I'm going to get it on my block just so you can see. So you can take the paste and you can put it in your color, and you can color your paste this way and then just scrape it up and then apply it to your project. Or if you want an even deeper color, you can take your re-inker and add it to your paste like that. And look at how deep and pretty that purple is. I used Highland Heather here for my example just to show you. And that is just beautiful. And when it dries, it is so sparkly. And I kind of like the lighter color too. You know, you could mix them. You could have part of your project a darker color, part of your project a lighter color. And that is just an alternative way to get your paste colored. But let me show you how we're going to do it today. Let me get this put aside. And you don't ever want to leave your embossing paste on anything for a long period of time because it will dry and then you won't be able to get it off. So what we are going to do here is I've got my mask. I've got my 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 panel here to start with. I'm just going to put down a piece of scratch paper. I've got a little bit of my Post-it removable labeling tape, and I'm just going to use that to hold down my mask while we ink blend on it. And I don't need the whole wide strip, so I'm going to cut it in half and use one piece on each side. We need to get this positioned. And what I do is I just look at the mask itself. And I just kind of look at my corners and make sure all my corners are very similar. And then I know that I've got the mask pretty much in the center and my image will be perfect. So let's just go ahead and get that taped down. We're going to flip that over. And today I am using Soft Seafoam and Daffodil Delight. Let's go ahead and get those open. And I want this to be really light. I don't want my background to take over and overshadow my image of the daffodil. So we're just going to use a really light hand here and color in our image, our design. And even though I'm going to trim this down, I'm still going to color the whole panel. I'm still going to ink blend over the whole panel. Then we'll bring in our green and we'll do a little bit of green on the bottom. And again, just a really light hand. I don't want it too dark. And I'm looking at my daffodil there and it looks like I got it kind of dark, but I think it might be okay. So just get that whole panel ink blended. I think we're almost done here. And if you want to take a peek, it's real easy to take a peek and see what you've got going on. Just lift it off your tape, and I think that looks beautiful. So we're going to go with that. I want that mask to adhere back to that tape there. And then I do want to take one of my rags here, a microfiber towel, after I get my brushes put away. And I'm just going to kind of wipe that ink off a little bit, you know, because it does sit on the top of the mask and I don't want my color to mix too much when I adhere my shimmer paste. So just a little bit, just wipe it off just a little bit there. And we are going to be using the Shimmery White embossing paste. And I love this. It's such a pretty glitter paste on there. And you don't need a whole lot. We just want to get a little bit on the front of our palette knife here. And I just drag it down. A little bit goes a long way. There we go. I think we're probably pretty good now. And this does take a little while to dry, but I just love this. It gives your background such a shiny effect. It's beautiful. So let's go ahead and take this off of here. And there you go. You can customize this to any color you want. I just love that. It's so pretty. And the dimension on there is just amazing. It really is. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and take my tape off of here. And then I am going to set this aside to dry. This probably needs a good hour, maybe hour and a half to dry. So I am just going to set that over here. I'm going to clean up my mess real quick because you do not want to leave that, that paste on your mask. It will dry on there and then you won't be able to get it off. So I'm just going to go put these aside. Okay, so we've got our background drying. Let's go ahead and bring in our daffodils. Now, I did already stamp these. I just used a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 panel, and I was able to stamp 2 images on one. And we're going to go ahead and color those. I've got dark granny apple green, light granny apple green. I've got my dark Daffodil Delight and my light Daffodil Delight. So I am going to go ahead and color, basic coloring, nothing fancy here. I've got my daffodils all colored. That took no time at all, no fancy shading or anything. So let's go ahead and get this cut out. You can cut this out of using your mini cut and emboss machine, which is really nice. This die does fit in there perfect. So let's go ahead and do that. I've got my machine right here. And I'm just going to use a little bit of my painter's tape here. I've got frog tape just to hold that die down into place. So I'm just going to tape that on here. And these dies are so nice because you just get the perfect white space around your die cut image. So let's get that in here. It looks like I moved it just a little bit. There we go. That should be good. And it just fits in here. Perfect. Get that cut. Hopefully I'm not shaking the table too much. I just wanted to show you how that does fit in there. And then it will just pop right out of your die, just like that. Perfect. And there we've got our image. And what I did was I actually cut 2 more using this die out of plain white cardstock. And then I glued them together. So I've got my image here. It is a little bit thicker, and I wanted that dimension because I didn't want to use dimensionals because I wanted to make sure that everything stuck to my shimmery background really well. So I am using glue on here. So I've got 2 white ones and then my colored one. And because that background does take a while to dry, I've got one that I did last night, and it is dry. And I just love that. That dimension in there is so pretty. It's just perfect. And you can do any color you want. I just love that. So we've got our background here, and I'm trying to think out of the box. Typically, I do cards with layers, but I was trying to think out of the box here and do one without a layer. So let's go ahead and add our stamped and colored image to our background. We just need a little bit of glue on there. All right, that should be set up pretty well. So now we will just glue our panel to our card base. And I did add an extra piece of cardstock behind the ink blended and embossing paste panel because it does have a tendency to warp a little bit until it's dry really well. And I just wanted to make sure that it didn't warp on me. So I did add an extra piece of cardstock back behind there. And it looks like I do need to let this set just a little bit more. All right, let's check. I think that's probably pretty good. I left it there for almost a minute. Yeah, that's adhered really nicely. So now we'll take our sentiment. I just white heat embossed Easter blessings on my garden green cardstock. And we're just going to, and I did put it on dimensionals because this image is stacked. So I want to make sure that it does fit there nicely. Perfect. Let's go ahead and put that on there. And then we are going to bring in our 2021 through 2023 in color jewels. And I really, really like the yellow on this card. So that's what we're going to add here. And there you have it. You have a beautiful embossing paste background that you custom colored. And we've got our daffodil and our Easter sentiment. So I've got a couple others here that I also did. Like I said, I was trying to think out of the box. Typically I do layers, and I was trying to do something different. It's really difficult for me because I do like my layers, but I did do this one with a layer. This is the one we just completed without a layer. This was our sample. And this one, I just love this one. I did this one with just the embossing paste, the shimmery paste, without any color at all. And that is just so pretty. I'm hoping you can see that. I'm really going to have to get a good picture, but that is just so pretty. And then I added some of my gems. Then I've got a couple here, you know, one with a layer and one without, that I just ink blended. I did not add any paste at all. And those came out really pretty too. But that was it for me today. I just wanted to show you our embossing paste and our stencils. And these pastes are perfect. You get so much in there. You can make your own colors. Let me show you my sample again. When you use just the embossing paste, the plain embossing paste, you get more of a matte finish. Then when you use the shimmery paste, you get that glittery look in there, and that's just beautiful. So that's it for me today. Thank you so much. Please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe, and have a great day. Bye-bye.